Another day, another thought. Welcome on to another edition of the Double Thought Show. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Hey guys, I'm RJ here together with my co-host KR. KR, what's up, man?
How's everyone doing out there? Hoping you're keeping your head on the swivel, as they say.
Yes. Hey, we want to give a quick shout out to everyone that's watching this show. Remember to like, comment, and share this video. But most importantly, remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, because we're trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of June of this year. And by subscribing, you help us monetize this channel and upgrade the production of our shows. We have a good one for you today, so sit back and enjoy today's show.
Yes, guys, and today,
Where do we begin?
today we are going to talk about Israel Adesanya. Some might know him as the middleweight title belt holder of the UFC. For those who don't know, like a month ago, he knocked out Alex Pereira in UFC 287, reclaiming the belt after a second round knockout. You watch that game? No, watch that fight. Sorry.
I did not watch that fight. No, I did watch the
Halftime.
highlights. Yeah, the highlights.
Him taunting the son.
The kid. Yeah,
Yo, life can be tough sometimes.
Yeah.
If you're taunting, people might get you back.
yeah.
That
But
was
he said,
funny.
I'm petty, man. I'm petty.
I'm petty. Sometimes you gotta be petty. Sometimes the kids need to learn to respect.
Yeah,
Put some respect on your name. Your daddy might be asleep. Sleeping. Put your daddy to sleep. Anyway, guys, today we're gonna talk about Israel Adesanya, but not about the championship. We're gonna talk about what happened after his championship. He might have to fight another battle, a new battle, a totally different one where he cannot use his hands. Well, I hope he doesn't use his hands in this.
I hope so too.
Israel, let's keep it cool. Keep it cool. We're going to talk about Israel being taken to court by his ex-girlfriend as she seeks to take or receive, how you want to call it, share into half of his fortune. Guys, we know you've seen this around. You've seen a lot of commentary on this before, but here at the Double Thought Show, we're going to angle it, as we always do, from a objective perspective. Talking about the law aspect of this, but also the business. Is Israel screwed? Will he have to pay up? No matter how many posts we gotta discuss the posts as well. RJ, you don't have to say yet if he's screwed or not. Let's keep that for the show.
Yeah. Well,
You have something to say?
yeah. So I call him Style Bender. That's his IG. That's his IG handle. So, but
Bend this bullet.
Israel's Style Bender is an amazing fighter. Very all-round fighter.
Well versed.
Yes, he lost because he was winning fights left and right, and then he lost the fight to someone that was his, like his how do you call it? You have the protagonist, so his antagonist, so the Joker of his Batman. Let's say. So I think they had a fight, a boxing match where the other guy won, and then he met him in the UFC octagon. He lost the fight as well. So
Knockout.
Style Bender did on Desire, and that was a shock. but he really fought him back. He had the rematch and he won. Indeed, when he won, let's say he won against the fight against his antagonist, his bully, and then he dropped himself down in front of the opponent's son as a way of taunting him. But now his name has is being mentioned in the news, not for his fights, as you said, but relationship quarrels. And yeah, we're gonna take a look at what's going on, but also yeah, see, let's say discuss what might be best for him to do, taking into account not only the legal but also the financial / business aspect of it all.
Yes, yes, yes. But before we continue, guys, as we always do at the Double Touch Show, for those who cannot read, we always have this segment for you.
Yes, it's called the disclaimer.
Yes.
Guys, before we proceed, as KR said, we want to express that the views, thoughts, and opinions shared in the articles, documents, and videos we show here on this channel do not necessarily reflect the thoughts, opinions of KR, myself, nor this channel. All commentary is alleged because here on the Double Touch Show we don't know anything. We're just here to provide entertainment. So viewer discretion is advised. If you require or are in need of specific assistance in a particular area of your life, be it life, financial, legal, coaching, or any kind of support, we strongly urge you to seek the assistance of the professionals in those fields. For everything else relating to entertainment, we welcome you to the Double Touch Show.
Bora do show!
It's showtime, guys. Yes, as we already discussed, we're gonna talk about this quagmire, the girlfriend trying to get half of what he's earned during their time together. We've heard about this in the past about wives asking for half. One of the recent well-known situations was Dr. Dre. He almost checked out during this. It was RJ. It was almost as if it went.
Yeah, you saw it's like you saw you saw the bill and he said, "Nah, man."
Nah, man.
What's the song? What's the song called? Is it Eminem song? Yeah, it's an Eminem song. No, it's a Dr. Dre song, right? I'm about to lose my mind. I've been over my life or something, but it says, "I need a doctor.
Yo,
I need a
I need a
doctor."
doctor. Yeah, he needed a doctor. He needed a lawyer as well. Well, the lawyers helped him. Apparently, that went totally south. At the end, she got his former wife, his ex-wife, got about 100 million. Still much less than she wanted, but it is what it is. Sometimes you lose one, sometimes you don't lose half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and today we're gonna talk about Israel Adesanya and his former girlfriend, Charlotte Powdrell. Charlotte Powdrell. Both citizens of the beautiful island of New Zealand.
I don't know what you think you're doing, man. That's
Me and the accents. New Zealand. Sounds like
Brazil.
someone who's constipated. New Zealand. But yeah, you want to say something?
No, I said I don't know if that's good Portuguese or that is it was
New Zealand.
Brazil. I don't know.
Anyway, well, both are citizens of the beautiful New Zealand. I want to visit New Zealand, by the way.
You
That's
went
what-
to? You want
No,
to?
I want to. I want to visit. It seems beautiful out there. I don't think. Anyway, let's talk.
Guys, subscribe so we can visit New Zealand,
Right.
man.
Yeah. Subscribe so we can do a show in New Zealand. We might be able to interview Israel.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wants to interview after this show, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, guys. It's crazy. So what are we talking about here? His girlfriend is suing him because, according to her, they have been living together all this time, and she is entitled to half of his earnings during they were together, during the time they were together. And the reason why this has also reached a bigger group of people is because Israel was posting on Instagram about this. He was sharing through stories what he felt about the situation. Guys, if you want to know more and also the more about what he posted exactly, please go to Spark MMA. Adesanya slates his gold digger ex-girlfriend messages. So they basically cover all the messages he posted during his rant, because he's definitely doesn't agree with the fact she wants half of what he has earned during their time together. But we can show you a couple of things, a couple of quick views on what he posted. He posted basically a picture of his former girlfriend with a Pinocchio nose. He posted basically a clip of woman standards or merely fairy tales they have after living in a nightmare. He posted about Ashraf Hakimi. Ashraf Hakimi, guys, you already know Ashraf Hakimi. I think he's become a legend now already. If you don't know, YouTube him, you'll know what happened. He also posted. You're smiling, RJ.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy that if you just say, because the name, man, how are you gonna search that name? But he's the guy that but he's the guy that
Just Google, just YouTube H Hakimi, Hakimi. You don't have to type in his first name. Just Hakimi. You'll know. You'll find him. The algorithm is tailored towards.
Yo.
He's one. He has one. He's like, if he starts posting. By the way, we're moving a bit from the main subject. If he starts posting YouTube videos, I think he'll become the next Andrew Tate if he wants to. That's how tailored the algorithm is towards him these days. Anyway, continue, RJ.
Well, you were talking, and you mentioned that I smiled. So
Okay. So basically, let's continue. He also posted about let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see. The only way she would got me to marry her, basically what you see as a guy is basically leaning and his bro is holding him up. I don't know whether he is too drunk or he's he's there by force. You never know. You never know. Some people marry by force.
I don't want to do this anymore. Come on, have a drink, man.
Let me have a drink or two, or three, or
Liquid,
four, or five,
liquid,
or six.
liquid courage.
Liquid courage. Well, also he up Adesanya Stylebender is loading up the receipts, and also he posted a it seems like a very old Facebook post from 2021. I think they broke up back then, and he said basically He posted a couple of quotes from his former girlfriend. He basically chimed in on it. It's basically, according to him, she said, "I've worked in mental health, so I'm really good at manipulating people, but like I would never use it. It's not always fun living in his shadow and taking second priority he is doing because what he is doing is so important. After a while, it just makes me feel small. Izzy, if I move out, I'll drift away." He's posting the receipts.
And yeah. And his desire, his wish as well. Because if you because he posts like the quotes, right? And then he
Yeah,
said, I wish I let you drift away into misery
I
because
wish. Yeah, that's what he said after. Yeah.
misery loves company. Yeah,
Misery.
but you didn't.
Yeah, he
It's true.
didn't, and now we might have to divvy up the
Maybe,
earnings.
maybe.
We might. So that's why I said he might have to divvy up the earnings. So what we will do is we will dive today a bit deeper into the rules and regulations in New Zealand to discuss whether Charlotte stands any chance. We will also discuss whether all these posts were a good idea. Basically, the exposing. Do you want this to happen as a lawyer? Do you want this um that your client is posting all this stuff? Because he also I mean, guys, these posts are crazy. Back in 2021, he posted, I mean, in that post I just showed you, this was crazy. Let me zoom in a little bit. Can you guys see it? This dude said, "You have never helped me make money, only ever cost me money. Now you think you deserve half of my beat? What an entitled pompous brat you are. I spit on you. Achoo. Is that a good idea to
Yeah.
post that again?"
Yeah. Uh, well, as a lawyer, you don't want things to you. So as a lawyer, you want to have control over the procedure, right? So you wouldn't want your client to talk about things in public. So that's the first thing. I don't know if necessarily I would say it's a good or bad thing. I do think that, so legally speaking, but I do think that perhaps you don't want to, you wouldn't want to have the, so other people influencing the whole procedure. Uh, Sometimes it's just best to just let people um, let people out of the dark, let people out of your situation, deal with the situation in private, uh, because now let's say people can can have an opinion on something that they really didn't need to have an opinion on. uh, I don't think anything he did was necessarily. I doubt that what he did has or will have a effect or a significant effect in the pending case. Perhaps it can even be used in his defense, saying that, hey, we were broken up, for example, in 2001. So I don't know what his strategy is, and to be frank, we don't know enough to because it's always the essentials, right? The details that make the case. We know that he posted a picture with the girl on his IG in 2019. So if you count, we're 4 years later. According to what we saw, the law in in
Let,
news.
let's build that up. We'll talk about it later. The
Okay.
exact amount.
Okay. Then I'm done speaking. You can continue.
Okay. So I missed part of your so I cannot totally chime in on what you just said. I missed part of your what you said because my audio just went out suddenly. But I think from so basically from a business perspective, is this a good look? Is he trying to basically control the narrative right now? Is it a good move by him to control the narrative in this way? RJ.
Well, I think it's showing. I think it's showing more. I don't, like I said, I don't think it has a significant effect, either
More
positively or
frustration.
negatively. What did you say?
Does it show more or a lot of frustration from his
It
side?
shows more personal frustration, and it shows as well that the thing is, if the whole issue is affecting him. So it would be better to just, well, better. I mean, he's a grown man; he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But I'm always a proponent of trying to be as stoic as possible. Deal with your issues in private, because at the end of the day, and I'm not saying this because I'm not saying this as a insult to to Stylebender. I'm not saying this as a disrespect to him, but in general, people don't care. A lot of people don't care about you. A lot of people don't care about other people. They want to use. They will probably use the information to do, for their amusement. But oftentimes, what I've noticed is, especially when I was younger, when you talk to people about your problems, people don't care. Like they care to the point. They can have empathy, but at the end of the day, you have to deal with your problems on your own. So, not to say that you might not need the assistance of a professional to help you deal with your problems, but that's something else. But at the end of the day, the assistance of the professional can only help you with your problems, but it's your problems. You need to deal with it on your own.
On your own.
Yeah.
Yes, I do agree with you on that. People use I don't have the audio, but most people will say we do not care. Majority of the people. Um, but I do agree with you on that. And before we
This one.
continue,
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
that's the one. Yes. Most people think like that. They will see it and they'll say, who cares, dude? Good
Yeah.
luck. Because
Or
luck
they might care in a sense. They might find it. They might root for you.
yes.
But at the end of the day, you're on your own.
You're on your own.
So, and in the case of the girl, she might think, "Oh, I'm under his skin."
Yes. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
He still cares about me. He still cares.
Yeah.
Talking about the girl, Charlotte. Charlotte, who is Charlotte? For those who don't know, this is Charlotte and Adesanya in better times, happy times. This is also Charlotte after. She might think I'm entitled to half of this stuff. But who is Charlotte? Charlotte apparently is currently working at a real estate company as a real estate agent. She started her life, or at least early on, was in the field of nursing, and has extensive knowledge, as basically you could read in the quote. She has extensive knowledge of the healthcare department. So They have been together. No one actually knows the exact time they've been together. The people have posted, I mean, they posted, I think it was this picture, which I shared around the time he first won a belt or something like that. 2019, you said, RJ?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's the first time he won a belt, but that picture is from 2019. Yes.
Yeah. And then they broke up. No one knows the exact time, somewhere in 2021 or maybe before. And she was basically taunting him back then already. So it's been going on for 2-3 years already. This quagmire.
Yeah.
And here we are. And she basically wants half. But what does it mean in New Zealand? Because she's suing in New Zealand. In New Zealand, according to the national website, Justice Government New Zealand, separation and divorce, relationship covered by law. Well, marriages, they're not married, so we can put a stripe to that one. What applies to them is the de facto relationships. It says in most cases, only people who have lived together in a de facto relationship for at least 3 years are covered, unless there is a child involved or one partner has made a significant contribution to the relationship. They also define the de facto relationship. They say the court will look at many things when deciding whether two people are in a de facto relationship, including how long the relationship has lasted, the extent to which the couple share a home, whether they have a relationship, uh, their financial and property arrangements, and how much they depend on each other. So if someone is a leech, you might be in a de facto relationship in New Zealand. Might not be the best situation for you. They also continue by saying their ownership and use of purchase of property, how committed they have been to a shared life, their care and support for children, basically stepdaddy, being a stepdaddy or stepmom, who does the work, housework, and other household duties. This is a total setup. If the partners are known to family, friends, what? Yo. If the partners are known to family and friends or other people as a couple, geez. This is the de facto relationship in New Zealand. And in New Zealand, there is also a specific act that covers the dividing of the assets when a couple breaks up in a marriage, or in this case, a possible de facto relationship. It's called the PRA, the Property Relationship Act, where it discusses basically how to divvy up the assets. But before we continue, guys, before we start breaking down what is actually being said in New Zealand, I want to remind you guys that if you wouldn't mind, hit that like button. It's down below. Hit it. And also, don't forget to press on that subscribe button. If you hit that like button, it helps us get the video out there to more people as we're trying to spread the word.
Yes, the gospel.
Yes, guys. And remember to follow us as well on Instagram, Facebook, at The Double Thought Show. We are trying to reach a goal with the YouTube channel, RJ, right?
Yes, we're trying to reach 1,000 subs by the end of June. We have we have like 5, 6 weeks to go to get there. It's not impossible because a lot of people are watching the videos, but for some reason they're not subscribed. So, guys, if you have watched the show a couple of times, you like what we're talking about, and you want to support us, you can do so by subscribing to our channel. It will help. It will help us reach our monetization goal, which in turn will enable us to upgrade of the quality and frequency of the shows.
Yes, yes. It's 95%, guys. You watch it, you like the content, you return, come back, but you don't press on the subscribe. It really helps us, like RJ said. This so please press on that subscribe button and also on the notification bell. And of course, as we always said, the Double Thought Show. Share the video with your family, friends, your coach, your ex-girlfriend. And of course, the guys who you share the octagon with. And distract your enemies with our videos so you can or
Submit them.
submit them into a anyway. Let's continue, guys. It's all, by the way, covered by the. It's all jokes, guys. It's in the disclaimer. Go back and re-listen. But yeah, let's continue with the breakdown of the PRA, the Property Relationships Act. RJ, do you have some knowledge of this PRA? I mean, not a knowledge. I don't expect you to have in-depth knowledge, but the concept.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not a foreign concept. Well, it's not a foreign concept in the sense that a lot of countries have more or less similar rules or similar laws. What does surprise me, so the laws I'm referring to is the law that you can be qualified as a, well, here they call it a de facto relationship situation, but you can be qualified as a de facto marriage as well, de facto cohabitation. There are cohabitation laws in the US, in other civil law countries such as the Netherlands and other countries in the West, where you might, so let's say parties, the partners can get more or less equivalent rights and obligations if they have been in a long-term relationship for a particular point in time, for a particular time span. What does surprise me in this specific situation is how short of a time span it is. So 3 months is nothing. 3 years is nothing. 3 years is a relationship. I mean, that can go by so fast, right? In the Netherlands, for example, it's 12 years, if I'm not mistaken. In the US, it differs from state to state, but 3 years it flies by so fast. And to be able to get a right to 50% of someone else in 3 years is a lot, in my opinion. I mean, I understand the rise of city boys. It's
City boy.
it's that is what I find crazy.
Before
But
before you
yeah,
continue, just for to give us a better perspective of this, if you do, so we basically named all the definition of the definition of New Zealand of the de facto relationship. Do they have to check all these points, or is it a couple of them? How does it in general the concept work? So you have to have all these checkpoints in order to basically fall under the de facto relationship?
So a difference from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. But usually you would look at a couple of, you would look at all the information, all the variables. So in the case of a marriage, you know when the moment starts, right? As soon as you get married, you get the situation where your assets and liability can become one. So more or less, at least you can prepare yourself. You can make the choice before you get married to get a prenup. So that's the let's say the benefit of marriage, or at least you know you're going to enter into something serious, so you can make the choice before you get in. Hey, am I going to get a prenup or not? Or not? You can always get a nuptial agreement, but that's the same agreement, but after you're married. But the difference is, once you're married, you don't have leverage, or at least very little leverage compared to before you get married, right? So before you get married, you can say, okay, I will only get married with a prenup. So that's
Titanic already sunk.
Yeah. Now, I have to say that you have countries where, and I believe the Netherlands is one since 2 years ago or something, where you will automatically get married with separate assets.
Yes, they changed that law.
They changed that recently, right? So, but that's a law that's in favor. So there, in the Netherlands, for example, you can get married without a prenup, and you would still have the same. You basically have a prenup by law, right?
I know, yeah.
But
you have to register everything, though. Make sure you register everything.
But that's always the case. That's something that a lot of people don't do, because they forget that if you don't register things during the marriage, let's say some people get married with a prenup when they have nothing, and then they build assets together. So those assets, if you don't split them during the marriage, the prenup doesn't have any added value.
Can I register the if you buy for it's an asset. It's an asset. I gave her some assets.
Actually, the assets are
that as well. I want half of.
Actually, those are the brassets. The assets are.
I want half. Call the surgeon.
That's something else, man. That's something else. I think. That's
Continue.
But yeah. So, but usually, those are factors. But certain factors play more of a role than others. So the burden of proof will be on in this case, the partner, the spouse, that claims that there is a cohabitation situation, right? That there is a de facto relationship, was it?
De facto relationship, yeah.
There was a de facto relationship present. So the burden of proof would lie on her. And that means that she would need to prove that, in fact, these variables were present during the time that they were together. Sometimes things some disputes that arise. For example, let's say during the relationship they had a fight and they broke off. They broke up for a particular point in time, and then they got back together. The question would be whether or not the breakup was significant enough to be considered as a
reset
or not. Another thing, maybe they lived together, but they didn't have. Let's say they lived together, but the once one partner had a relationship with someone else, the other partner had a relationship with another person, but legally they both had the same address. Officially, they both had the same address. Does it constitute a relationship? Yes or no? So those are all the various factors. Now you can imagine, I can say, okay, we're over, and the partner will lie or cry, Freudian slip. The partner will cry and say, no, okay, but I don't have a place to go. Can I stay here until I find another place? Do you have that documented? Small things like that. Usually you don't think about these things during a relationship because you're just dealing with people, right?
Love. You're dealing with love.
Well, yes. Yeah, I mean, you don't think of the law at that particular point in time.
Mm.
You see a person in need or whatever, you feel pity for the person, you feel sad for the person, and you
And
just
you, I'm gonna say, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And then afterwards, all these things can be used against you, because if you're going to court, you would need to prove things, and yeah. But as I said, the 3-year period I find very, very short.
Yeah, and according to the Law Society, which is also a org website of New Zealand, flatting, what they call flatting together, also might fall under this. As above factors indicate, people can flat together without their relationship being deemed de facto in terms of this legislation. However, if people who live together and share costs develop a relationship, they may be classified as de facto. Both their assets and their debts, possibly including the student.
Mm.
Jesus.
Mm.
Student loans would be shared equally if the relationship lasts 3 years or more. The only way to avoid that is for them to make a contracting out agreement.
Yeah.
This could be quite simple, merely providing that they will each keep their own existing assets and be responsible for their own current debts. But if it is intended to cover all eventualities, it will necessarily be more complex and more expensive. Parents may lend property to their children when they go flatting. It is a good idea to record any such arrangements in writing to avoid them being caught up in a future PRA claims, which
Yes.
would be crazy. So if your parents basically tell you, "Oh, go live there," and you bring someone to live with you, could she also get that property?
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, because in general, and I don't know how it is in New Zealand, but generally speaking, the rule is that as it pertains to goods, movable goods that are not registered goods, and basically we're talking about tables, chairs. So let's say a registered good would be a property, right? So you have a registry where you can see who's the owner, um, if there's a mortgage on the property, etc. In those cases, it's easier to see who's the owner, right? But if someone lends you a chair, how do you know if the chair is, let's say, my parent lent me their my parents lent me their kitchen set, a table and four chairs, and so a small eating table. Okay, but the eating table is in my apartment. The rule is that the one that has it, that is in possession of it, uh,
Is the
is
owner?
is regarded as the owner.
Sheesh.
So if the parents have, for example, a contract where they agree that they will lend the so no, so to stay with my example, if my parents are smart, they would make an agreement with me where they mention explicitly that they will share or lend me their kitchen set or dining set for a particular point in time, so that when someone comes and claim it, they have proof to say, oh, but this is, or I have proof to say this isn't mine, it's my parents. But if you don't, then it will probably be regarded as a gift unless the parents can prove otherwise. So,
Mm.
but these are small things that you don't think of in your
Until your ex-girlfriend sues you.
but some people say, hey, you are too paranoid when you think like that. You don't believe in love, or you need to remember the human aspect. But I'm telling you, KR,
Mhm.
especially as someone with a legal background, you start you can't help but see the legal aspects in your day to day. Yeah. And even so, you can't cover everything. You can't cover everything. So you need to be able and willing to live with certain certain risks. You need to take risks. It's inevitable to live a life without risks. The moment we open our eyes, we are running risks of a lot of things. In Jamaran's case, risk of catching a case. But
Guys, if you haven't watched the show yet, we posted on Monday a show about John Morant or Moran, how you want to pronounce it. It depends on how you want to pronounce it. Go check that video out.
yes, but the least, I believe, especially in relationships, if you're gonna live together, it doesn't cost much. It's not rocket science to have a agreement in which you discuss how the living arrangement will be. And it can be a general agreement, but it can save you so much headache, because it doesn't seem fair to me that after 3 years, someone can claim half your stuff. Especially in this case, where there's a significant discrepancy probably between what Andesanya is earning or has earned and what the
And
lady has earned.
let's take a deeper dive in when does the PRA Act applies in New Zealand. It says the following. Usually a relationship will need to have lasted at least 3 years for the PRA equal sharing regime to apply. However, sometimes shorter relationships where there are children or a partner has made a substantial contribution will also qualify if that would be just.
Baby, baby,
Yes,
don't worry about anything. I got you
I,
covered.
am a millionaire. I'm a billionaire, baby. We're gonna get it. She's gonna get half.
Yeah. Now, if you use the example of what's the soccer player,
Ashraf Hakimi.
Hakimi, who had his assets under his mother's name. I don't know that there's a risk in that as well. I
You
mean,
gotta trust your mama, man. If you
you need
can't
to
trust your mama,
you need to be able to trust your mother.
some mothers are scandalous. What's yours is mine, baby. Thank you.
Some others pimp their daughters out for their gain. But
We're not gonna name names.
no, no, they will do it themselves. But
Oh.
the but it does bring the it does allude to the topic of asset protection, right? Asset management and protection. And it's always smart to protect your assets. It's not wise to have everything in your name. This doesn't have to be in another person's name, but can be in a legal entity's name, right? A foundation, a company, whatever the case may be. But that also plays a role, because maybe he did earn the money, but the assets aren't in his name, for example. Then we were talking about a limited amount of money. But if all the assets are in his name, then he does run a risk of taking, let's say, the real half instead of taking half of, let's say, the half of what actually is under Stylebender's name. She can get half of everything that belongs to Andesanya
during that period. During that period.
During that period, yeah.
So they also define what are the rules for relationship of short duration, so less than 3 years. They say the following. Of course, you have people passing away, etc., etc. But they also discuss the de facto aspect of this. They say the following: an order dividing property under PRA cannot usually be made if a de facto relationship was of short duration. However, the relationship may be treated as one of 3 years or more and covered by the PRA where there is a child of the relationship or the applicant has made a substantial contribution to the relationship and the court is satisfied that failure to make the order would result in serious injustice. So it's about injustice. It's injustice for the other person to not share into your belongings. They also say, in that case, the share would be determined according to the contribution of each party had made to the relationship, rather than equally. For other, the de facto relationship of short duration, whether ended through separation or death, property is usually shared according to the equitable principle applying before the PRA came into force, rather than 50-50. These principles take into account who has legal title to the property, each partner's contribution to the property, and the couple's expectations as to how they should share their property. It's tough. They also dive in what is relationship property and what is separate property, inheritance, etc., etc. So, looking at the rules in New Zealand, RJ, I think we can dive a bit deeper now to share how we look at things, how can we expect it to go, or at least from what we know, because a lot we don't know about this relationship. Adesanya is loading up the receipts, guys, so we will know what the receipts are later on. But for now, what can we say about the chances of this legal move by the ex-girlfriend?
Yeah. So again, so as you said, we can't give we have too little information on the specifics of the case, but one thing is for sure, that the woman would need to prove that there is a situation that falls under the PRA. So the burden of proof will lie on the girl, the woman. If she can prove, what did you say?
The ex-girlfriend.
The ex-girlfriend. If she can prove that there is a PRA situation, then the battle will. So that's the first step. Then the second battle will be, okay, how will the division need to take place? There you will go and see what is actually under the names of each party, and based on that, and so the assets, the common assets, what falls under the common assets. In New Zealand, I've seen just like in other countries, or a lot of other countries, that what someone received in the form of an inheritance do not fall under the common property, common asset. If a mother, if your parents passed away and left you with a house, that house does not fall under the common property. But the first step, so you will need to check what the common assets are, what the common liabilities are. The third step would be
Well,
what?
it says well, continue. I'll chime in to your part of the inheritance.
Yeah. The common assets, common liabilities. After that, you go to the common. After that, you will see what the. So to what extent each party can contribute to the. To the. So to what extent each party carried the burden during the relationship, and based on that we will get a result. Now, Andesanya said he's currently gathering all the receipts, but the question is, what receipts are we talking about? If we're talking about receipts that they weren't together for 3 years, then that would definitely make the battle of the ex-girlfriend harder, because that will make the burden of proof heavier for her. So yeah, but time will tell. We would need more information to reach a more educated conclusion.
Other than that, they also talk about when does separate property, which is an inheritance, become a relationship property here. Well, one last thing, and then we're gonna close out this show. Where the application of the relationship property or the direct or indirect actions of the other partner contributes to an increase in the value of separate property, that increased value may be classified as a relationship property. Indirect actions could include, for instance, caring for children while a partner works, or to increase the value of his or her separate property. The increase in value will not necessarily be shared equally. It will be apportioned according to the contribution each partner made to the increase. Where separate property, being a gift, trust money, or inheritance, is used for the benefit of both partners or becomes intermingled with the other relationship property, it may be classified as relationship property.
Yeah, but we don't know if there is inheritance in this particular case. I just used it as an example. But even if there is, the burden of proof would still lie on in this case, the ex-girlfriend to prove that it does fall. So that although let's say Andesanya received it in the form of inheritance or a gift or whatever, it did eventually come to fall in the common asset of the couple during that particular point in time. So, and they don't have kids, I believe. So that's definitely out of the question.
Could it be Patty season and she got an inheritance and now she has to pay him, Akimi style?
Well, that's let's say if they lived in her house and he paid for the renovations, then yeah, for example. But I mean, these are all.
Akimi on the way, Israel.
Well, Akimi didn't do much commotion about it, I believe. The news just broke out when the decision was already made, right? When the judgment was already made. In this particular case, style bender started to talk about the issue since 2001, publicly. So it's two different situations.
Well, the,
But
the
at
thing
the,
was why I said young Akimi on the work in the on the comma, because according to what I've read, instead of him having to share the assets, the wife had to share the assets with Akimi because he didn't have anything on paper, which could be also be applied here. If she got an inheritance living in her home and he renovated it, she tries to sue him, and at the end, it's her who has to pay up. But it's just a joke. So
yeah, well, yeah, but
that's the
yeah,
context why I said young Akimi.
yeah. So that's the difference between legal ownership and factual ownership, right? So, or de facto ownership. Uh, if it's not in, and they will look at what is in the name of each party, not necessarily what is in companies of other parties. Because if the company has a legal and is a legal entity, the company is the owner and not the person itself. So I really doubt that Andesanya has everything under his name. It wouldn't be smart.
What can we learn from this situation to close out before you give us a recap?
I don't think I think people oftentimes underestimate the legal aspects relating to relationships. Relationships are not, because we like to say relationship is a business deal. It's not a business deal, because business is more straightforward than relationships. It's not love either. It's somewhere in between. It's something on its own. And I was having this discussion with a colleague of mine yesterday, and I was commenting that people underestimate. So they know business, they know romance, but relationships, and so long-term relationships, be it living a cohabitation situation, a marriage, it's a different kind of partnership. If you're just dating, it's different, because when you say, okay, let's live together, you need to realize that so the more serious you get, the more legal aspects will play a role. And I think people underestimate it. The lesson is to try to not remain ignorant with these things. You can really so try to educate yourself, especially if you're a man, and or a woman that earns more than the man. But it's oftentimes the man that earns more, because women generally don't look for men who earn less than them. So it's not like it's just like the way it is.
Manosphere here, man.
No.
But it is true. That is true. It is true.
And so I'm a lawyer. I'm not a New Zealand lawyer, I'm not a US lawyer, but I am a lawyer. And I can tell you, a majority of the time, the man earns more than the woman. And when the woman earns more than the man, oftentimes they divorce. Or if the woman
Or
has,
he has a prenup for him to sign.
no, they divorce. A woman,
Mhm.
generally speaking, will not stay with, not generally speaking, in my experience, so I'm not saying this is the way it is or something, but I'm saying from what I've experienced, a woman will not stay with a man if the man doesn't have an added value. That's all I'm saying.
What do you mean by that?
So the but you also have women that earn more, and they get a lover boy, and then the lover boy moves in, etc., whatever the case may be. But you need to realize that when comes to shove, oftentimes the reason why the relationship ended doesn't play a role. It's not that relevant. The law the law is not always in line with what we think is justice. And yeah, you would need to, it can be very costly. And sometimes the prevention, what you can do to prevent is nothing. Let's say, what can it cost? Let's say it costs you $1,000 to prevent something. Let's say it costs you 5,000 if you want to do something a bit more complex. Is it, what's $1,000? What's $5,000 compared to $500,000 if you need to sell your house or more? What are we talking about? So I think that's generally the I would say that's the silver lining.
Good, good. Yeah, so do you have a recap for us?
Yes, guys. So in today's show, we talked about the debacle, as KR likes to use that word. So the
Quagmire.
debacle,
Quagmire.
the quagmire
Love that word.
surrounding Israel Andesanya, aka Style Bender, one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time. In this particular situation, he seems to be in a non-physical fight with an ex-girlfriend who with who he lived with in the past. The ex-girlfriend is claiming that Israel should pay, or at least that she is entitled to 50% of Israel's property and assets, because they live together, either because they live together more than 3 years, or because Israel was earning so much and was taking care of so many things that now she cannot, like, she should be entitled to receive half of his stuff. I've read that in some cases the judge can even appoint more than half. I seriously hope that that isn't the case, but whatever the case may be, Israel seems to have a tough period in front of him, because the my Siri just popped up. Because I said seriously, and then Siri came up. So. But yeah, so we want to we so we need to we have to wait and see how this will play out. But from what it seems, Israel seems to be confident that he has enough receipts to defend himself, to protect himself against the ex-girlfriend. He has shown posts of 2 years ago where he said, "You didn't help me with anything," etc., etc. So we would need to wait and see what will happen. But I think Israel needs to make a. I mean, it's definitely not productive. It's not what you want as a professional fighter. As a professional fighter with a lot of talent, you want to be able to focus on, what's important, which is your fights, and these things are just nuisances, right? You don't want them in your life. But it goes to show, this is another case, guys, of how you can focus on your business, you can focus on being great, you can make the necessary sacrifice, but you have the wrong person or people around you, they can really set you back. In this example, it's a girlfriend or an ex-girlfriend. In the previous show, we talked about Ja Morant, or as Kwame Brown called him, NBA Dumbboy. You have a lot. We've have countless examples in our shows of people having the wrong people around them. We talked about Kanye West. We talked about Tom Brady as it pertains to him supporting Sam Bankman-Fried, Fried Fraud, and FTX. I mean, you can do everything right. You can be great, but you need to watch out who you have around you. And fact of the matter is, KR, a lot of times we don't know who we have around us until the fan gets hit by something gross. After which, you will be like, that's a shame. So
Is that a play on groceries? Groceries? Anyway,
I don't
continue.
know, man. But but the at the end of the day, you can live life in defense mode all the time. You need to take risks, but it's good to take edge. You need to protect yourself while taking the risk. And how can you do so, guys? With a simple contract, in let's say, as it pertains to business, if you're going to get married, a prenuptial agreement, and if you're going to live with someone, a cohabitation agreement in which you declare how you will divide assets, etc. Oftentimes, remember guys, that oftentimes the preventing problem costs money, but it doesn't cost a lot of money compared to what you will lose if you don't make sure you are covered. So take this as a lesson. We really hope Andesanya can. Yeah, we wish him all the best for his case. He is a very inspiring person as it pertains to his fighting career, his dedication, his conviction, his story. So let's the way he lost against his, let's call him his antagonist, his bully, and came back to win and then troll the bully son. That's inspiring in itself, except for the trolling of the bully son part. But you wish him all the best. But for the rest of us, guys, let's learn from the situation and make better moves. It doesn't mean you need to distrust people in your life. It just means you need to move smart and don't let your emotions guide you in life. Did I miss out anything, KR?
I think, to be honest, that what you just said.
Have I done a good job? Have I done a good job?
Yeah, you did a good job. Yes, you did a good
Awesome.
job.
American American over here. Look at him. Are you the greatest? You know what I'm talking about? Okay.
Yeah. So, guys, with that being said, as always, we want to thank you for tuning into today's show. Whatever your thoughts are, let us know in the comment section below. Remember to rate the show by pressing the like button, share the video with your friends, family, and your enemies. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, because this helps us get to reach our monetization goals, which in turn will enable us to make better quality shows for you. Remember to follow us as well on our socials at Double Touch Show on Facebook and Instagram. And as Kara always says at the end of the show,
but I can only show you the door.
And whether you're a style bender, whether you're a thought bender, or a law bender, make sure you protect yourself at all times and have the right people around you, as we already said in the previous show. Watch out with the thoughts. Continue, RJ.
yes, because you can bend, but please don't break. Let's have a healthy conversation in the comment section below. And we'll see each other in the next one. Until
Don't be
next
the
time.
one that breaks.
The thought breaker, that's a different thing. Guys. Peace.